All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to class today to Bootstrap. We're going to be moving on from, well, not moving on. We're going to be moving forward from Bootstrap to Bootswatch, which I think is a really cool platform. Let me share that with you guys. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
How are you doing today, Liliana?
I'm doing good. Like a little bit of allergies. I'm sneezing a lot, but everything's good.
Yeah, me too. I just started sneezing too. What's going on? Is it allergy season now?
Maybe it's on the spring, so pollen is flying.
It's coming, and we're getting more winds and stuff like that out here in the SF, right?
Yeah.
So, um, but that means summer is around the corner, so that's good too. Um, all right, so we covered Bootstrap last week, and this week I wanted to show you guys Bootswatch, which I'm looking at their site, and you would think for being such a cool thing, I don't know why this happens all the time. You'd think for being such a cool thing, they'd have a better site, right? Or they would like follow their own model and choose one of the better looking color palettes. This blue is, it's not a fan. Are you a fan of this blue? Although blue is the favorite color, the majority favorite color of most people. So that's why well, I don't know if that's why, but I'm guessing that plays into the fact of if you look at a lot of the major sites, they choose some type of variant of blue. I would say, you know, you look at Facebook, LinkedIn, and these sites are blue. But I wouldn't say this shade of blue. Would you agree? I would say that you can go wrong with blue as well.
Yeah, I would pick something different.
Yeah. And so Bootswatch is super cool because they provide, I'm sharing my screen now, right? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Bootswatch is super cool because they provide all these different themes that you can use if you're tired of the main Bootstrap theme. And they go beyond that as well, where you can also just incorporate the components directly onto your site. And so, in the same way, when you go to Bootstrap and you go to examples and you go to components, is it under docs now? Yeah, here we go. Docs and then components. In the same way that you cover that, in the same way that you cover these components and you have the accordion component and you have the carousel component and these other components, Bootswatch provides you with that same code here. So that's pretty sweet. It's a pretty cool thing to have incorporated. And the difference, really the only difference, is the color palette. So if you wanted to create a unique color palette or more distinct color palette than the one before, like this Lux color palette's really awesome. I do like the Cyborg color palette's nice. There's a whole bunch of really nice color palettes, and I'm guessing they're using cerulean for this site here. That's what it looks like. They're using the cerulean color palette. So then one might say, well, how do we do that? It's pretty straightforward. So if you go back to getting started with Bootstrap, right, and you go to the introduction, we'll see that there's this link here, and they give you that minified link, and we talked about it before. It's a CDN, it's a content delivery network. It's coming from the Bootstrap servers, and we use that CDN of their CSS page. We copy that into the header area of our Bootstrap page, and let me grab an example. I'll cover it in summary and then show you. We copy that into the CSS area of our Bootstrap page, and then the CSS is linked, and then we could use all the components that come with Bootstrap here. So Bootswatch works in a very similar fashion, except this time we're going to want to download that CSS document and put it on our own server and use a relative link or an absolute link from our own server instead of using it from the content delivery network of Bootstrap. And so we would just download one of the files for the minified, which is the one that's really compacted, or the regular CSS one, which I prefer. And in general, it's going to be super fast anyways. The purpose of minified is to make your site load faster. But if you're just using a Bootstrap site, it's super light and super fast. That's a huge advantage, by the way, of using Bootstrap over a lot of these other platforms, because speed, page speed of your site is a huge factor for search engine optimization. So if somebody says, hey, I would like my page to be higher up in the rankings, a lot of times one of the best things to do is start from first principles and build a site that's super fast, because that's one of the largest factors of search engine analytics, is to follow, okay, is this site made well, and does this site load fast? If it loads slow, you'll often be lower down in the results on your pages. So building a Bootstrap site is a great head start of doing that. And sometimes you could even build a landing page of your Bootstrap in Bootstrap, and then it could go to your WordPress, your Weebly, or whatever else later. But at least that landing page is showing up for those search results. Keep that in mind. So you download the Bootstrap or CSS and the minified documents, or the minified documents are the same file, just one is condensed where they take out all the characters so it loads even faster. But once again, it's already going to load really fast. So you could just do the .css if you prefer to be able to see a little bit more of what's going on there. Okay, so let me show you an example. I'll just share my full screen. Okay, so this is a site that we had with the tutorial last week, where we built Wyatt Earp's mobile application. And this is a site here. This is using just regular Bootstrap, and you could see here the style sheet, and you could see that minified Bootstrap from the CDN right here on this page. So I will give you guys the zip file. I'll attach it in the video, and you can download the zip file that I'm showing you right now. So this is the Bootstrap page, the final Bootstrap page, and you could see that we're using this minified link from Bootstrap that we got from the website from here. That's what we used here. So if we want to update the color palette of this site, what we do is, if we open up this second version that we have, you could see that we replaced the style sheet with bootstrap-superhero.css. And if you go over here, you could see here's a whole bunch of different versions. Now, I just renamed them. So I downloaded them from Bootswatch here, and whatever name that came with it, then I just renamed them. They actually might have that name. Yeah, it's actually just downloading as bootstrap.css, but in order for me to put a bunch of different ones to check the different versions, I added, a dash sign. So it doesn't matter what you name them afterwards. Always keep that in mind. So then you could play with the different ones and see how it looks. So if I go back to the Sublime text and I have my superhero, I'm going to right click, open that in browser. And now you could see how the superhero theme changed the design of Wyatt Earp's mobile app. And then if I want to go over, and after I downloaded the other one, and maybe change it to sketchy.css. I'm going to save that. And then I'll refresh this page. You can see that here's sketchy.css style, which is kind of cool. I like the fonts and stuff like that. And then here's slate.css. Which looks a lot like the one before. That's as the basic one. And then here's cyborg.css. This is cyborg.css, which is a nice black theme. So that's the basics of using Bootswatch. And if you go over to the actual themes themselves, once again, if you want to use this color nav bar, you just grab this one. And then if you want to use the other ones, notice how they've updated the colors of the different buttons, right? Is really what they did in the CSS document. It's just a really nice custom .css page that they're giving you essentially. What are your thoughts on Bootswatch and using frameworks like that to kind of enhance?
I think well I love the look because it's very clean and also give you help you to advance in your project. So if you already have a mock-up and you find a theme that's close and you just planning to do minor tweaks, it will help to save a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it will look clean and perfect, and
Yeah.
and you don't spend time trying to figure it out how to like make it from scratch. And
Yeah.
so I think that's amazing. And something that I noticed right now by looking at the files is that right now I think the Bootswatch, sorry, is is compatible with Bootstrap 4, right?
Yeah.
So because the version 5 of Bootstrap is still in beta, so that means it's not fully developed. So like keep in mind that. So if you start with Bootstrap 5 and try to install this, it might doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, but for sure it will work in Bootstrap 4. That's what I saw in our files.
Our practice over the years has kind of been, let's go with the older version until the other one's been kind of fleshed out. Do you still abide by that principle where it's like, don't run to the newest thing they created because there's often some type of bug or issue with it?
Yeah, definitely. And also like other tools, like other themes would not catch up with the beta until they finish developing. They will start creating templates and things like that, just because it would be more stable, the version, and they don't have to be revising files.
Yeah.
So I keep in mind that.
Yeah, and I don't think you're losing out on anything. I'll go in and actually this week we'll go in, I'll look in at some of the updates of Bootstrap 5, and we could talk about that moving forward and kind of give people an update on it. I'm guessing that now there's vertical and horizontal grids. If they do that, that's a big step up, actually. I hope that they did that, but I have no idea what else they did to update it. But usually, you know, it's okay. Just stick with Bootstrap 4, especially if you're learning. It's nice to kind of just, there's going to be more resources on Bootstrap 4 and all that other kind of stuff too. So I pulled out a couple nice Bootstrap sites that we can look at together and we could talk about what we like about them. So this one's called Monterey in Spanish. And if I load, I'm going to reload it here. And I chose these because they're nice, but yet they're very simple. There's not crazy things. You could see that they're just using some basic CSS transitions with the pages as well, which are nice. And they're using the simple grid. So you have, these are 4 columns apiece on the 12 column grid, and just super simple, super easy to use. Another thing that we could maybe show, if maybe you would like to show, Liliana, maybe should we talk about Google Fonts and stuff like that? down
Oh,
to demonstrate that?
right now I don't have super prepared, but I can jump to the topic.
Okay, I'll do it with you too. Yeah, and we'll look at a few of these first, and then we could cover Google Fonts in a second. But the reason I think of it is because that's really what are making these sites. Like they chose a really nice font, right? I like the font that they chose, and then it's just clean, and they have nice pictures. Pictures are huge, actually. So if you want to, nice places to get pictures, Unsplash has free, really nice pictures that you can use. And you could use them on your site, and you could find just amazing photos to include on your pages. So I totally recommend going to Unsplash, finding pictures. Let's say that I have a cupcake company, and I could just grab a whole bunch of cupcakes and I could put them on my page. And my page is going to look great because of these photos. I mean, it makes a huge difference to have good photos and good assets or elements on your page, for sure. This really makes oftentimes more of a difference than even the design of the page, because they're just huge attention grabbers, right? And here's another one, actually extremely simple design. And we have this nice image here, which is essentially like a Jumbotron image. I like what they did here, where they linked the picture and this little arrow with the CSS, yeah, with the transforms to kind of make them. Actually, it's just making the arrow bigger. It's not even, but they're adding a transition to it too, so it smoothly opens. And we did this in the last exercise, where you could kind of just put a little filter on the image. So that's a really nice touch. These little zoom touches are really nice. This almost feels like 3D, because the rest, it looks like he shot it against a wall, but essentially cutting out all this other areas, cutting out the alpha channel. And you could also do that with the pen tool, but it looks like he did it against a wall, just a white wall or something like that, which is nice too. And it actually kind of makes it feel three-dimensional when he moves forward. And they're playing with that same arrow trick here. This is a perfect example of a great portfolio. This is all you need for a portfolio. Is you have a few different projects. You have a nice header title at the top. If you want, you could go a little farther, put a little logo. You literally can follow this exact formula, and just a really nice, simple site going down. And let's check out this. And then here's just a detail page using that same idea that they used before. So yeah, it's beautiful. This is a beautiful site. Definitely try to, if you wanted to build a portfolio, this is exactly what I would recommend for that.
This is pretty nice. So they also have an animation in the background, so it changes color. It's very smooth.
Yes, yeah. I didn't bring it up because people might go crazy trying to figure out how to do that.
Okay, so.
But I think we're going to show people how to do that soon. So you will learn how to do that, but you can try to figure it out. All you have to do is view the source code, go into the document, but likely there's a little bit of JavaScript happening there, right? And you can find little snippets of JavaScript too, if you wanted to. That's funny. This was working before, and now it's not. So forget that one. Here's another one that's nice. It's just a video Jumbotron, which is awesome. Really beautiful again, and just kind of catches the eye. And then when you scroll down, amazing pictures. Once again, same theme. I love the breakup of the way that they're creating the grid. Just super clean. Then they go to a full grid, and then they go into these smaller grids. Another just great example of a simple site, but just elegantly designed. Think about the spacing that you have. It's interesting that there's kind of spacing in here too. It almost feels like there's a margin within this picture, which is kind of interesting. And but in general, just super clean. I like these little text boxes too. These are nice as well. And once again, another very cool font. This looks like Code Light or something along those lines. We could actually, you know what? Better yet, download these type of font tools. I don't know if this one's working right now. Let's see. So let's.
Cool.
Yeah, the font tools are great for, and they'll just tell you what font's on the page. But I don't think I have mine installed. Do you have them installed on your page, on your browser right now?
No, I don't have one of those. I have the speed for the video.
Oh, okay. So anyways, yeah, you can download some font tools too to find out what it is, or you can also go to developer tools and you can click on the developer tools and we could bring those up and we could check out what font that is here. And it looks like the font is,
It's funny, but it was selecting the image for some reason. Maybe it has like a, to protect the image, it looks like it has something on top.
to protect this image?
I think so. Oh, you grab it. Okay. Image title. Maybe at the bottom when it says text align left, it doesn't say there, like in the tools.
I'm not seeing where you're referring to.
Oh, and the styles and the developer tools on the
Oh, okay.
yeah. Oh no, it stops right there, right?
Oh, here we go. Here, font family, right here. This active grotesque. Oh yeah, that's actually the grotesque family is actually a popular font family. There's a lot of cool fonts with that. So then you could do this active grotesque. And I guess that's an Adobe font. Let's see if it's, and then here's Typewolf also has active grotesque here. And so this is the font that they're using. Typewolf, I believe, charges you for the font. Yeah, I guess, is it owned by Adobe now? Looks like it. Maybe it always was. So if I go back over here, you could always do this too. It's like, oh, I really like active grotesque. And then you just do fonts like, and then here's all these fonts like it. Another thing to do that's a smart move is once you find one of them that's like it, you could probably even do Google fonts like. So similar fonts to active grotesque. This one's free, Opti Stains. Funny names. Railway is a really common font. That's a good one to go with. I like to try to go with the fonts that are more kind of well known for the most part. So if you go to Railway, so let's go to Railway Google font. And here's Railway Google fonts. And so for this, it works just like Bootswatch. So that's what's kind of cool about understanding how implementing the CSS and using kind of a CSS file in order to update your site. It impacts in so many different ways, right? You can connect to so many different frameworks. And actually, when you start moving on and moving up, you'll start realizing that there's lots of different ways to connect your site to web apps and things like that. So it becomes kind of a skill that's really useful. So let's say that I wanted to connect this thin 100. I select this style, and Google Fonts has got tons and tons of fonts. There's no reason you should have to buy a font. If you're working for a really specific fancy client, then maybe you do want to buy a font at some point in time. But for the most part, you should be able to find your fonts for free on Google Fonts. There's enough that are similar to each other. And you could see that here's the CSS that you would put in for Railway. And then here's the link that you want to put in your style sheet in the styles that's going to link this font so that you could use it. You're going to have to create a custom CSS page to use that font as well on your site. But then after that, you can just hit the ground running in it. Another thing that I would also recommend, do you have any other thoughts on this before I jump from?
No, just to remember the specificity that we talked about in last class. The first, it would go like, in this case, your Bootstrap CSS, then your Bootswatch, and then your style. And to if no, you won't be able to overwrite what you have.
Yes, your order. So computers read in a linear order down the page. So the thing you want them to read last. And the reason we say that is because if you put it above, then the Bootswatch or the Bootstrap font style is going to override the Railway font style. So you want to put it lower down so it reads it last, and it overrides the other font styles that are going on when you use it. And yeah, so this is a really nice font style to use. And you can even download it and put it on your own server if you want. But once again, it's using the Google font CDN, and Google is pretty strong. As far as my understanding, Google has pretty good servers. So if Google's servers go down, likely your own server will go down, would be my guess, right? So then you could look at another thing to do. If you're choosing one font, I would recommend actually choosing two fonts. And so I'm going to do Railway, and then I'm going to do complementary font to Railway. And you're going to find font pairings. This is from Figma, which is really cool. I've never seen Figma do that before. Typewolf, which is an awesome site. I don't know why they're connecting to Adobe. I'm guessing that it's, so Typewolf is a site on its own that just shows you complementary fonts all the time. It's a great place to go to check stuff out. And see kind of these new fonts and stuff like that. I'm guessing it's an affiliate marketing thing or something that they're sending you to Adobe, would be my guess. But nonetheless, here's Railway font pairings. And you could see here a self-modern and Railway. So you could see the contrast, and they already create some nice contrasting fonts. And that's really good idea. Choose two fonts and then just use those fonts on your page, and maybe use variants of that font. But that's what I would recommend with font uses on websites, rather than just selecting like an Arial. Go in advance, choose your font pairing, choose your color pairing, your complementary colors, or this makes it easy because you could just choose your swatch, your boot swatch, and you're ready to go. Do you have any other thoughts on font pairings and stuff like that?
But I will kind of echo what you said. I will try to minimize my fonts too. Your site will look cleaner, more slick. And in, like the professor was saying, if you have a client that has already a style guide and they already have decided on a font, you probably won't be able to avoid to buy one in Adobe, but just so your client they need to buy it. And also they might want to buy, if they will start sending mailers or doing other things, they might want to buy that license. And so always ask your client if they have a style guide that you need to follow. That will help you also when you're designing something. So so that's what I would.
Have you ever created your own font library? I feel like you would be one of those people that might create their own font library. Have you ever thought about doing that?
No, I haven't. But I pick a lot of fonts. I was time when I was working in a magazine. So then you have to kind of keep consistency in the entire magazine, but at the same time pick fonts by article to make them unique. But following a grid, so it's like, yeah. So you have freedom, but not. So it was like, so there's where style guides will help you to start to deciding what you're going to use, and this type of sites that now they're amazing. Back in the day when I was working in a magazine, we didn't have these options, so I had to do a little testing on the computer to see if it looks good and it goes together.
Yeah. So I mean, fonts and color make a huge difference. So Bootswatch and just the fonts set you running, and you're not cheating by any means. You're actually saving yourself a ton of time with all these things because trust me, you're still going to spend plenty of time working on the project. You're going to spend plenty of time talking to the client, fixing things, tweaking things. There's still plenty of time that you're going to be dedicating. So if there's areas that you can speed up your process, definitely take advantage of those. All right, so that's how to create your own fonts, font pairing, Bootswatch, and then here's one other that's really nice too, full screen video at the top, and then this one's a little more fancy actually. So this one's using JavaScript and Greenstock, I believe, which we will show you in this class. So our goal is to show you guys how to do some of a little bit more advanced CSS and JavaScript stuff, because we would love for one of the sites to be on AW Awards. And I think we can do it. I think you guys can get a site on AW Awards this semester. So if we go to AW Awards, the trick of AW Awards is to use Greenstock for the most part, and the CSS techniques that you have and Bootstrap, and boom, you can actually be a website of the week on AW Awards. So through this class, you'll have the skills to do that if you put in the time to try to accomplish that. So yeah. Any other thoughts that you have on Bootstrap or Bootswatch?
No, I don't. I definitely learn the tool. It will save you a lot of time. It's not only for websites, also landing pages. If you need to do that, that will help. That would be fast. You can prototype really fast and have something that will look professional.
Yeah.
You can probably even make a prototype when you're doing like a mock-up for a phone, when you're doing phone view, because they already give you all the sizes. And so yeah, so definitely learn a tool right now, and you can apply to other like, well, in my case, in my job, we use it in React, and I'm pretty sure that there are other platforms that they are connected to it, because it saves so much time, and you keep the consistency, and there can come another designer or somebody to help you. But if you already build like the skeleton, like the basic, like it would be pretty easy to keep it consistent.
Yeah, no, totally. And that was the word I was looking for before, which is the landing page. You could almost make a career out of building landing pages these days. They're so important. And there's actually all these tools that they say, oh, come build. It's like a new Wix model. Oh, we're going to help you with your landing page. But the key is just build it with Bootstrap. Make it super, super fast. That's the main key. And then start learning some of the other techniques of how to put proper content and stuff like that on there, right? So yeah, I love it. So cool. Great. If there's no other questions in the stream, that's all we got for you guys this week. We will put the links to the zip files down below, and looking forward to seeing the sites that you guys create. Okay, see you guys later. Actually,